it's Kristen and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. So for today's video, we're doing a bungalow inspired home build. So I knew that I wanted to do something that was a little bit smaller because I really had this idea that I had seen of a tree string. Oh my gosh, I've been trying to do this voiceover, you guys, a million times. I'm leaving it in. A tree swing. Oh my gosh, I keep calling it a cheese string, but yeah, so I've seen this idea of using one of the outside benches that is the tree trunk, and you kind of pair it with one of the larger trees, which I ended up just using a regular tree and sizing it up, and then you use one of the Jungle Adventure vines, and you kind of just play around with the three of those items, kind of like moving them up and down until you make them look like a swing. I was gonna say string, oh my god. But anyways, I really love how this home turned out. So I do end up toning it down a little bit. You guys are seeing me just kind of decide what color that I wanted to go with. So the exterior of this home is inspired by the shape of a home that I actually drive by every single freaking morning when I go get my iced coffee. So that home is definitely a realistic home. It is just like blue siding. I don't even think anybody is living in there right now. It's like a little teeny tiny, almost looks like what you would picture like your grandmother or grandfather moving in when they are like downsizing their home. So that is what I based the actual home of this off of. I have no idea what the inside looks like, but as I started to furnish this home, I ended up finding out that it was just a little bit too small for what I wanted like the interior to be like. So I did have a lot of fun with the exterior of this home. You guys will see I really went all out, or for me, with playing with the debug menu. I've really been enjoying getting back into that menu. I did kind of get into doing like a little bit more of the less clutter builds for a while, but I am definitely back into a full swing of clutter. So this is what I am doing. So I did end up having to size down that vine, and I played around with this a ton. I did kind of keep going back and forth and trying to figure out what actually looked like a realistic size. So the vine tree I ended up sizing down, so I just used the left square bracket for that, and then the tree seat itself, I ended up keeping that the same size, and the tree is just, I believe, a base game tree, and I sized it up, I believe, one time. So I do get asked a lot of questions still from you guys about like how to size things up and down and like raise and lower them. So it's actually really easy. I still get asked a lot on one of my tutorials that I did a long time ago. Before we did have the super easy left and right square brackets to just, you don't need anything, you just have to use those to make things bigger and smaller. But before we did have that in an update, you actually were able to like set things as like head, and you were able to do it that way. So I do have a tutorial that I still get like a lot of comments on. I even have been thinking about like hiding that video and making it like private, just because it is so easy now to size things up with like not even really using any cheats. So that is how you do that. And to how to raise and lower items, it is just your 9 and 0 key. So you definitely are going to want to make sure to have your move objects on before you place this home, just because I do have a ton of stuff and there is no custom content in this build. So it's all in-game items and just a lot of things in the debug menu. So that is kind of one thing I wanted to mention, because when we get into those extra items, I do get a lot of comments about like them being custom content things. All they are is items in debug, means it is just basically hidden items from the menu. So kind of an example would be like if you had your sim and they were making themselves something to drink, or even if they go to a vending machine, they get like a soda or a quick meal. That item is not something you will find like normally in your build and buy. So you're not going to find an open can of pop. So that is something that the Sims game actually has. It's just something you can't play with. So debug is where you're going to find all of the food, where I get like my cupcakes that you guys see me use that a lot. So same as this pond, ponds are added throughout all of the Sims worlds but it's not an item you would typically like find in your build and buy. So that is one you will find in Debug, and you are going to find a bunch of different styles of that, from like the one that you will find in Oasis Springs, so ones that's like a little bit more desert looking, some from like Willow Creek that are more with like the grass and like the wooden posts put in there. So I wanted to make this home just have a really cozy, slightly whimsical, but I still wanted this to be like a realistic home. So you definitely will be able to have a family here. And I wanted to add in like just so much characteristic on the exterior of this. So that is the first time that I actually did stick with using those parcels for like rocks and stuff. I really wish the Sims team would give us like more rocks and stuff to decorate gardens with, because I really love using them just to kind of like line where my gardens and everything like that go. So I do see a ton, like tons and tons of builders use those blank parcels for building blocks, and I've just really had a hard time using them before, but for some reason I just like took my time and I really love how they ended up turning out. So that is another Debug menu item that you guys will find. So the front yard does have a vehicle in it. I know that a lot of people, it's just one of those things that's either love it or hate it, take it or leave it. And if you really don't enjoy having the sized up toys in the front yard, you can just like delete it out. I think they are cute. Of course, they are not as cute as if it was actually like a real vehicle that we have in game. That is something I really have my hopes of that we will see in 2019 in The Sims, is vehicles. Like, how amazing is that? Even if like we don't have open world, just because I have heard like Sim gurus kind of mention like it's not really going to be something that they see as a necessity just because it's not an open world. But a lot of the other games like Sims 2, what's an open world? So I just want to have the aspect of it in my game of having vehicles, starter cars, and like fixer-uppers, and I have talked about this a million times before just because that is something I am obsessed with, like realistic builds. So that is something I would love to see, even if we could have like oil stains. You guys know how in Strangerville we had those little rugs that you can add that's like slobber or slime or just like disgusting looking puddles. I would love to see some that are like spilled oil, like from vehicles, and just like greasy mess kind of a stuff. I think I have a little bit more of an appreciation for that stuff because my father was a mechanic like my whole entire childhood. So really want to see that, tools that you can like have scattered around as well, maybe from like fixing your vehicles. So this home, like I said, I did want to make it a family home, and I really wanted to play around with the backyard area. So sometimes I find myself leaving like the backyards out of a home, and like sometimes I just don't have enough space to actually furnish it. So I did want to pull in the same landscaping from the front yard, all of the same plants that we ended up using, and just like use those to line the different areas in the backyard. So there is the basketball net. One of the chairs is functional, but you will see I have like a stack of chairs just kind of for a little bit of like a decor look. No pad and pop, maybe they're like keeping track of scores, or maybe they're like practicing for stuff, drills or something for like school, and they just need to keep track of that. So I did also want to add in some gardening stuff just because I feel like this home has so much landscaping that I wanted to include that, but there wasn't really that much space, to be honest. I had like the garbage cans outside. You guys know I talk about that on Twitch all the time. Leaving out garbage cans is like a big thing for me. All of my builds, like when I first started my channel, it was always either stoves or refrigerators. I was always leaving those out. I don't know why I would leave a fridge out of a build, but then I ended up doing a lot of builds that had like 2 stoves in them for a while. But yeah, so we didn't really have too much space for gardening, but there are those 3 individual planters. So you will be able to have either, you know, your herbs, your fruits or vegetables, or even some flowers. So at first I was going to add a lot of seating out here on the balcony, or not balcony, the deck, but I just really wasn't liking how it looked, and I just wanted to play around with some of the pool stuff that I haven't really used that much. So we did kind of flood it out with like some plants and greenery. I think it turned out adorable. It is a really tiny pool area, but I would rather have a tiny pool area than none for this home, just because I definitely pictured there to be like outdoor activities for this one. So the Strangerville, I don't know what you would call it. It's just like that stain that is on the bottom that I was just talking about. That actually in the blue swatch definitely looks like it could be a little bit of like a mess from the pool. So that one did not look super dirty or dingy. And oh my gosh, you guys, I have been really loving watching you guys and doing your builds over on Twitch. That's a new kind of like a weekly build challenge that I have. And outside by the pool is completely inspired by your builds. I have seen so many people adding in like so much more detail to pool areas that I never even thought of, with like using the wall shelves for stereos and like that are just sitting down on the floor, and using like certain mats and stuff for like towels. And yeah, so I love how that turned out. I have seen a lot of people also using the stuff that came with cats and dogs that you can have like outside, that your dogs can run through, the obstacle courses. If you size those down, you can actually make like tube looking things, and even the tire that is from Strangerville, you can add that in a pool for like just your, you know, your pool floaty. I guess. I mean, around here in the country, if you go to any lake in the summer, somebody definitely has an old tire. Usually it's not a tire though, it's like the inflatable part on the inside of a tire that you do like use for that. But yeah, so as I started doing the interior of this home, that's kind of where I realized that the whole family home aspect of it, it was just not gonna work out. It was such a tiny home. I don't know why I didn't realize like how small it was, but I did end up putting in a full entire basement. If you're hearing like scattering noises in the background, it's just like Lily and Luna. They got a new toy, so they're like really, really excited about that. So yeah, I ended up putting in a full basement because I really didn't want to make this home super teeny tiny and cramped inside. And that was definitely something that I was end up going to have to do if I ended up like turning this into a family home. So I love this kitchen area, you guys. I wanted just to point out all of those mugs because that was honestly my favorite area, I think, in this whole entire home. The little coffee station with the coffee cup and the little tea bags. I'm just gonna pretend they're maybe like a Keurig machine. Little like a setup, some coffee beans in the bags on top of the microwave, and all of the individual mugs and stuff. I don't know why, I just love that section. And like I said, I have been trying to pay attention to a lot of my clutter and just really making it look like such a realistic build. And I've really missed doing that. A lot of my earlier builds, or like early last year, a lot of them had a lot of this kind of clutter. So it's definitely been a lot of fun. So that's kind of why there hasn't been as many builds on my channel, just because I've really been taking my time furnishing these kind of homes and just having a lot of fun with the other content that I have been posting. So one thing that I definitely have been aiming for is getting back into daily uploads. And the only thing that I want to make sure is that I don't rush any of my content. So once in a while, it definitely is not going to be daily, but I am striving for that with still making my content really good. So earlier this week, I did have the mod review for the Witches and Wizards. That one was actually probably, you guys, one of my favorite mod reviews that I have done in a really long super time. Like, whoever created that over like on that website, that really had a lot. The only thing that I would change is the speed of flying, because it definitely was like supersonic speed. So I would change that up, but I mean, it was just so cool to see. I really want to see more of that kind of stuff in The Sims this year. Like, I mean, we do have vampires, plant sims. What else do we have? I think that's everything that we have. I mean, we do have Alien, but I really want to see Witches at some point, even if it is as a game pack. I know that a lot of people will be really disappointed if that's something that they are going to do, because I know with Sims 3, I think it's nightlife, a lot of like, there was werewolves, vampires, witches, all of the occult sim life stages was like in one pack. So I feel like if the Sim starts like separating stuff like that, I feel like there's going to be a lot of unhappy simmers. But I feel like it could work for a benefit. Like, I feel like it could be something that we end up getting like more benefit from because they have like more time and focus on an individual pack. So I would love to see fairies and witches. And I feel like that's one thing the mod was missing out on, is actually like making potions and stuff like that. So I would definitely do some kind of a let's play if we did get witches or fairies. So if that is something we get, expect to have like some kind of a new let's play, because we are going to be getting some new game pack, stuff pack, and expansion. So I feel like in the expansion we are either going to be getting University. I feel like that has been the absolute most hyped, other than Cats and Dogs and Seasons. I know a lot of people have been asking for Generations, but I know that a lot of people have kind of pointed out that the Parenthood game pack that we got was basically the same thing. And keep in mind, I haven't really played around Sims 3 enough to realize what Generation brought to the game as much, but I really want to see more stuff for elders. Definitely, hands down, you guys hear me talk about this all the time, but I feel like when it comes to certain ages in The Sims, they're really left out. Like, what is there to do for an elder? Honestly, you guys, than just like lay on a sofa and maybe play a game of cards. Like, I would love there to be more things to enjoy for elders and babies. So I kind of want to see just babies as an update. I don't want to see a full-on pack. Like, I just want to see that updated like they did with toddlers, where we just kind of woke up one day and the game was like that much better. So I definitely want to see something like that. Absolutely. So either University, I know, or I kind of just feel like we are going to be getting University, because that, like I said, is the most hype, but I would love to see something to do with farming. I really love doing that in game, and it's kind of funny because like everything that I love about The Sims, I hate about real life. Other than, I mean, yes, I'm getting bees. I talk about that like nonstop over on Twitter and Twitch. But I mean, when it comes to gardening, I suck at gardening. I keep trying. Every time I get a new plant, I try to make sure that it's like tropical. So like cactuses or stuff like that that maybe doesn't take too much water, but I still kill them. Like, I really suck at that, but I really want my actual home to have like a ton of greenery in it, and even like outside. I just can't keep anything alive. So other than my dogs, but yeah, so I think enjoy that part of The Sims because it's something that I really suck at in real life. And same with farming. Like, I have no real love of farming in real life, but for some reason when it comes to like in-game, I'm obsessed with it. Like, give me all the freaking pigs, but when it comes to real life, there's no way I'm getting too close to a pig or a cow. We actually used to have cows, like in my childhood home. We had our neighbor actually built half of the, like where the cows are on our fence. It was a big deal when I was a child because they were using like our field and they were building one of our fences onto like theirs. But we used to have cows. I was freaking terrified, and now I think about it and it's kind of funny because all they would do is like walk up and eat, and you know how cows, they like chew so insanely. I was like terrified. I thought for some reason they were gonna jump the fence, and I kind of explained that to be why I was never an outside kind of a child. But yeah, so as you can see, I did end up putting in a lot of detail over in the living room as well as the office. So that is something I always like to make sure my homes have, is an office, because I mean, when it comes to gameplay, you are going to need a computer for a heck of a lot of stuff. And I've also been really still obsessed with that chroma key laptop. I would love to see them add in some like laptops for like teens and stuff. And again, University, I feel like we will get that have like just a lot of stickers and stuff like that. So I'm trying to think. This home ended up having 2 full size, or no, I guess they're not full size because upstairs does only have the toilet and a sink, and then it just has like that stand with all of the clutter. So downstairs is where you are gonna find the full-on bathroom. So there is the sink, the full tub shower combo, and you can hear, oh my god, one of my dogs is actually asleep and they're dreaming and they're like smashing their tail on the floor beside me. So if you're hearing that really weird noise, they're having like a dream of their life. They're probably finding some bones. Okay, I think she's calm now. But yeah, so downstairs there is 2 bedrooms, I believe. So there is like the parents' bedroom that is kind of also an ensuite onto the bathroom that is down here. And then the children's room, which actually has multiple beds. And then a little bit of, it's kind of a hallway, but it's also a little bit of a rec room area. And I did end up putting in like, I think it's Don't Wake the Llama and some bookcases. Yep. Still the tail wagging. So as I was watching this, you guys, I started watching this movie on Netflix called The Silence, I think it's called. I started off watching or finishing Chambers, which I highly recommend if you are into like suspense. It's not scary, but it's definitely a suspense show. That ended, and then I started watching The Silence. And that is seriously a movie I feel like I wasted my life with. Do you ever just like watch those movies that you have to like finish it just because you can't like start a movie and not finish it, but you know the whole time you're wasting moments of your life? That is how I feel with the movie Silence. I definitely do not recommend that movie at all, but I watched it and I'm like, why did I do that? And I did just finish season 2 of This Is Us, so I think I'm going to actually rent season 3. I don't think I can wait. I googled a million places where I can actually find season 3 of This Is Us, and it looks like it's not going to be coming to Netflix until the end of this year. Now, there's no freaking way I can wait until the end of the year, and I fall like a baby when it comes to This Is Us. I feel like every single episode is kind of like making me question my whole entire life. And I'm like depressed about every time, like for a full entire night, I'm just like crying myself to sleep. So that is kind of what I have been doing with these builds. You guys know I talk about that all the time, what I'm watching as I like do these builds. Now this room I did end up changing up a little bit. I started off doing the toddler beds, and then I ended up switching it because I feel like for the outside we have like we have the pool, we also have the basketball net. So I ended up changing it for a child or a teen. I mean, I definitely picture a child to be in here. That's kind of that decor that I ended up going with. So I love the clutter in this one. I wish I had a little more time spent in this bedroom. I would have liked to maybe had a few more wall shelves in here, maybe a couple of like basketball trophies, but I kind of thought about that after the fact. And yeah, so as the end of this video wraps up, I'm just kind of like going back in, adding in just a bunch of clutter and decor throughout like the whole entire home. So I hope that you guys do enjoy this. I mean, we have a couple of minutes left of the video, but this ended up being a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. There is the office. And if you guys do want to have like some kind of a washer and dryer section, I feel like out where the office is, you definitely could like put some in there. Or even in the living room, if you're not a big fan of the like floor to ceiling shelves, like the bookshelf that I ended up making there, I feel like you definitely could put a spot for a washer and dryer. And I thought about putting it over in the upstairs bathroom where I ended up putting like the clutter of like the shelf with all of the towels and the laundry basket, but I wasn't sure if it would just kind of like get in the way where the door is, just because it's kind of a narrow bathroom. But I do like how it ended up turning out, and I really was stuck. You guys will see that there was like a cut there. I ended up furnishing this particular area of the home like a million times. Originally, I did have the foosball table. I felt like it wasn't going to be a functional item just because it really took up a lot of space. I think now it would have been fine, but it just was like too much. So I ended up just like taking out one of the chairs. One of the other ways that I had it decorated was actually with a bubble machine. And, oh wait, do I put in a washer and dryer? Maybe I don't. I can't remember if I put in I don't think I do. But I mean, you could even take out one of the bookshelves and put in a washer and dryer. But let me know if that is something you guys actually use in your game. I talk about that all the time. I always try to put in a washer and dryer in my builds, but I feel like whenever I'm watching anybody play The Sims, they like don't even use laundry. It's just like one of those nuisance kind of things. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize when I was talking about the bathroom upstairs, you guys had no idea what I was talking about because I didn't even start it. So this was honestly, you guys, one of the hardest rooms to do other than that downstairs rec room, just because it was like long and skinny and the door was over on the end instead of on the middle. So I wanted to make sure that this was functional. I didn't want to have anything that was going to cause issue of not being able to like get into that room. So just a lot of clutter with like the towels and the baskets, and I pictured this to be kind of one of those areas in the room that maybe it's the catch-all area of just like a mess of clutter. If you don't know where something goes, you're just gonna like shove it here. I feel like nobody wants to admit it, but every home kind of has an area like this. But I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and make sure that you guys do give this a very big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Always lets me know. Make sure to have your notifications on so you don't miss the next video that I post. And this is going to be available in the gallery if you guys want to add this to your game. And hopefully I'm going to get to see you all next time. Bye guys!